What's up, guys? This is Bradley. You're listening to the Charm City Sideline podcast. I'm here along with Zach and Dawson. Today's Friday, November 1st, already the first of another month. Just crazy how time keeps going by so fast. Today, we have a preview Broncos Ravens. Broncos 5-3 at Ravens 5-3. 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. We'll have Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call. Good weather for this one, 62 degrees, sunny. Ravens favored by about 9.5, 10 in some books, 8.5 in other books. Over under 46.5. Zach, how are we feeling going into this one?
I'm looking at the records. I'm just so surprised. It looks like wrong almost. The Broncos 5-3. That's very impressive. The Ravens 5-3 seems like a little letdown. Like both teams at the beginning of the year, I don't think anyone predicted them to be in this spot. Maybe the Ravens close to this, maybe the Broncos close to this, maybe sitting at 500. But interesting teams. It'll be awesome.
I'm looking at the spread. Minus 9.5 is a little
Yeah.
intimidating to me, given the Ravens were favored by like 8 points last weekend at Cleveland, and unfortunately, of course, lost that game. Whether that means anything or not, it's just they expect the Ravens to win pretty heavy in this matchup, and I understand the whole, how the Ravens play against rookies and at home after a loss, and I get it. So we'll see how this goes, but it's a big time game. Both teams are 5-3. They're both playing for, I would say, quite a bit. And they got a rookie quarterback over there in Denver, and man, he's playing great football right now. I mean, he is playing fantastic football, and I think they're 5-1 down the stretch in the last 6 games. So they're a really tough opponent, man. People don't realize they have a really good defense, and this can be a big, big test for the Ravens.
For sure. And to get into the injury report, some significant news on the Ravens end. Keaton Mitchell was full all week. The knee brace is off. I'd assume you guys agree that most likely won't go this week. They probably hold him out one more game, maybe even 2 more games just to be extra cautious, but maybe we could see him.
Is he questionable? Is that like the actual? Okay. I didn't know what the actual designation was. Okay.
So we'll see about that. Lamar practiced. That would have been bad if he didn't show up Friday, but he mentioned it was sort of the plan all along to rest Wednesday, Thursday. Broderick Washington and Travis Jones both came back to practice today, which is big. We would have had some practice squad guys starting on the D line if that were not the case. So good news on that end. Brent Urban's still not practicing. Jalen Arbor-Davis not practicing. On the Broncos end, basically all they got, safety PJ Locke, who's been a solid player for them over the past couple of years, is out, and they're fully healthy besides that. Dawson, you got any thoughts on either side of the injury report here going into this one?
Not really anything with Denver. They're pretty healthy across the board there. It looks like they are losing 2 safeties, but those aren't like super crucial players, I would say. But on the Baltimore side, obviously, thank God QB1 was back at practice, and I do like the fact they gave him kind of 2 full days of rest, given we have 2 games in a very short time frame here because we play on Thursday Night Football on the other side of this game. So, but the D line kind of scares me a little bit. We're really banged up there right now with Michael Pierce going on IR, and the only healthy guy being Matabike. It's a little intimidating because Matt Urban's still out and Travis Jones and Broderick are both battling injuries and they're not near 100%. So we'll see how this goes. They're definitely probably going to elevate one of the practice squad defensive lineman guys. I would say probably Chris Wormley. And then Tupou, I think his name is. So those guys are probably going to be brought up just to have insurance there. But nothing super, super scary as far as, injury report. It looked a lot worse a couple days ago. But Keaton Mitchell, man, I don't think he plays this week, but I do think he debuts on Thursday night on the other side of this game, which, man, that would be awesome. And he's brace off, full practice all week, man. It's close. We're really close, guys, and it's going to be exciting. But I think the Ravens will head into this game fairly healthy. Nate Wiggins, we're getting back. Marlon Humphrey, there's a pretty decent chance I've heard that he comes back. So a lot better than last week, I would say.
Yeah, I'm circling Broderick Washington and Travis Jones. Like I was a little nervous going into it with Michael Pierce being out. He's like our rushing defense monster. Just doesn't get talked about a lot with stats and everything, but the numbers otherwise show. And those two, Broderick and Travis, being at practice soothes the nerves a little bit more. I'm really hoping they go Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. To get into sort of the matchup history here, Ravens-Broncos. Ravens lead the all-time series 10-6. Ravens have actually won the last 3 meetings. Last Broncos win over the Ravens was in 2015. I don't really have too many Ravens-Broncos memories. Obviously, you got the Jacoby Jones touchdown in the divisional round. Rest in peace to him. That's really the only thing I can think of. Ravens getting blown out in 2013, week 1, after the Super Bowl win. Anything coming to mind for you guys?
No, just a Mile High Miracle. I mean, that's really it. That's all I mean, that's literally the only thing you can think of. That was obviously iconic. That will live in our head forever, and as it should. But rest in peace, Jacoby Jones, man. What a legend. What a great player, great man, great dude. Just awesome. And other than that, I was at the game a couple years ago. We won 10-9. That was pretty underwhelming. I was at the game. Lamar left, I believe, late first quarter with an injury, and we all know what happened to the end of that season. He kind of never came back, unfortunately. So that was kind of an underwhelming game, and it led to the downfall of our team that season when Lamar was firmly in MVP conversation and the team was firmly in the hunt for the number 1 seed. If you guys remember that, so I don't know. Hopefully this year is a little different. I mean, we did win that game, but it kind of all went downhill after that. So hopefully this game goes much better, and we can roll in. Just keep going in Thursday night against the Bengals.
Yeah, hopefully, hoping for that. Getting into the Broncos offseason moves, obviously drafted Bo Nix out of Oregon. Looked really good in the preseason. Maybe a bit of a slow start as the Broncos started 0-2, but ever since then, like you mentioned, Dawson, 5-1 over the last 6, same as the Ravens. Both these teams started 0-2. They traded away Jerry Jeudy, and they sort of replaced him with Josh Reynolds, who's been having a solid season. Getting into Broncos offense versus Ravens defense here. Zach, we'll start with you. Any stats coming to mind? Any thoughts overall on this side of the ball?
Yeah, the biggest one right now for the Broncos offense is their ability to protect Bo Nix back there. They're tied for second with 11 sacks this year. Ravens have 12, just to give you an idea of what we're working with here. It's close. We're close up there, but Broncos have been doing it very, very well. Their rushing attack is also something that they try to get going. I think Nix, Jaleel McLaughlin, Javonte Williams, they're all around like the same kind of area in attempts and total rushing yards. In total, they have 971. Just for another reference, Lamar has more rushing yards than their top rusher, Javonte, which is pretty impressive. Derek's obviously in a league of his own. But yeah, I think of those stats, especially with how our defensive line has had a lot of talk and discussion about not getting to the passer. This could be a big week to go after him and get to a rookie and show him different things and hopefully get home a few times.
Yeah, this Denver offense has been extremely potent down the stretch the last few games, man. And Bo Nix, like we said, is playing incredible football right now. And it's crazy how you would not even know. It's like overshadowed right now amongst the NFL. Like you're hearing nothing about Denver, nothing about Bo Nix, man. And they need all the credit and respect in the world, man, because they're playing fantastic football, as good as anyone right now. And both units are rolling. But I do like the record of John Harbaugh at home. The Ravens are pretty dominant historically against rookie quarterbacks. I believe the record is something like 22 or 23 wins with 7 losses. So it's a very, very dominant track record against rookie quarterbacks, man. And I hope that trend continues this week.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, what they can do with Cortland Sutton. Ravens really struggling with the number 1 receivers this year. Harbaugh mentioned that Marcus Williams will be playing this week. So he'll be back in there. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I want to see Kyle Hamilton maybe moved around a little bit more, maybe play more of the deep halves and cover 2, maybe even put him back there in cover 1, because we are struggling in the deep passing game right now. And I feel like when you're struggling, you can kind of just mix some things up and see what sticks. And Kyle Hamilton played a lot back there deep at Notre Dame and hasn't really done that much. Obviously, he's been an all-pro safety, probably best safety in the league, but when you have an issue on defense, maybe you think about putting your best player somewhere else. That's kind of only my take. Broncos offense, pretty simple scheme-wise, but Bo Nix is executing very well. Javonte Williams is playing well. O-line's playing well. Kind of is doing what they need to do on that side of the ball. Any other thoughts there, guys?
Last thing I could add is that since their rushing game isn't necessarily elite, I think the Ravens are going to take that away very quickly and once again be left with Bo Nix airing it out. So let's see if the defense can step up and stop it. I mean, this isn't, a best quarterback in the league type guy. It's Bo Nix and the Broncos. There's not really a elite wideout or anything like that. Sutton's great. But come on, defense. This step up already. Come on, let's go. Gosh.
This is a big week too, especially getting hopefully back your top 2 corners in Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey.
Mhm.
And hopefully the defensive line guys are out there and stuff playing. So realistically, the Ravens should head into this battle against the Broncos offense relatively healthy, not completely healthy. Obviously, there's a lot of guys battling injuries. Michael Pierce is out and stuff like that, but relatively, you should still have pretty much all your starters out there. So we'll see. It'll be a big time test. And man, Broncos offense, man, it's been a juggernaut lately. They're airing it out. Bo Nix is, making plays happen, dude. Even as a rookie, Sean Payton is making that offense roll, and it's on a whole head of steam, dude.
Yeah, and now we'll move on to the other side of the ball, Ravens offense versus Broncos defense. Zach, take it away.
Yeah, the Broncos defense is getting to the quarterback, whether it's blitzes or anyone else. The main guys for them, Nick Bonito, 6 sacks, 1 in each of the last 6 games. Like, that's pretty dominant football. Jonathan Cooper, 5.5 sacks. Zach Allen, 4 sacks. And we hardly even have to mention Mr. Patrick Surtain, 3 interceptions. He's going to have an awesome matchup against Zay Flowers, who has 100 receiving yards in 3 of the last 4 games. That is also like eye-opening as a Ravens fan. Golly, guys. But with all that pressure and with all that the Broncos do, Lamar has 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a passer rating of 121 against the blitz. So one side's going to have to fall apart. And apparently, I think Brad also mentioned to us before something about like yards per play or something like that.
Yeah, so the Broncos defense is allowing the least yards per play in the league, and the Ravens offense is, I don't know how you'd say it, just getting the most yards per play on offense.
First. Okay.
So yeah, that's a very interesting, strength versus strength matchup. Probably the best defense the Ravens will have played so far, if not all season. Maybe the Chiefs defense is a little bit better, but yeah.
That's an interesting battle. I didn't realize. Yeah, you got a Ravens offense who's gaining the most yards per play, and a Broncos defense who is allowing the least amount of yards per play. So that is a true strength against strength, and may the best team win in that matchup.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, because we talked about last week, and we talk about this every week. Browns are going to have to choose to stop something, and they kind of did a good job at stopping both last week. And I don't know if we expected that. I mean, to be fair, Ravens did put up 24 points still. Not sure if that'll get it done or not in this one. You'd hope it does, but I don't know. With the way the Ravens D line's looking right now, it'll be tough. But Zach, I like what you mentioned about Surtain and Flowers. That's a really, really entertaining matchup. And we haven't mentioned him yet, but Deontay Johnson is going to be playing this week. Ooh. And it'll be him, it'll be Bateman, it'll be Flowers, likely Andrews, Henry, probably not Keaton Mitchell, but Justice Hill. I'm excited to see how the Ravens utilize him. Don't know if he'll play 5 snaps. Don't know if he'll play 25 snaps. So we'll see about that.
I realistically think Deontay Johnson is going to have a very heavy workload this week. I don't think the Ravens are going to kind of ease him in. I know he's coming off an injury, and I don't believe he played last week for Carolina, but I seriously think he's going to be out there a lot more than people think, and I think he's going to play a very, very heavy majority of the snaps. I mean, I think they're going to throw him right into the flame and just be like, here you go. Like, I mean, he's obviously already a veteran. He knows what he's doing. It's not like, this is a new guy coming in. Like, he's had a few days to already learn the offense. I mean, he got on the field immediately, practiced this week with us and stuff. So, granted, the chemistry with Lamar's obviously not there yet because Lamar missed 2 practices this week. But either way, I think Deontay Johnson's gonna have a very heavy workload, and I'm super excited to see it. I think it's gonna be awesome. And from what we know already about him as an NFL wide receiver, it was even more strengthened this week with all of our coaches and players saying how he's been a great route runner, his separator, he's fast, he's catching. Like we've heard good things out of Owings Mills this week, so it's been nice, and I'm super pumped. And I just want to say, can we give Zay his flowers quite literally? The dude's incredible. 3 of the last 4 games over 100 yards. I think there's only 2 wide receivers in the NFL other than him this year that have 3 games with 100 yards. So,
Really?
and
I
he's
didn't
one of
know.
the 3. And I can't remember exactly who it is. I think it's DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin. I
Boom.
think you might have to fact check me there, but I'm pretty sure Terry McLaurin, Zay Flowers, and DK Metcalf are the only 3 wide receivers this year to have 3 or more games with 100 yards. So Zay Flowers,
Wow.
man, holy crap. He's been incredible. Homegrown wide receiver. He's becoming everything we thought he'd be. And man, it's nice to see the Ravens draft a wide receiver and finally come in and really acclimate himself, get perfect chemistry with our quarterback, man, and just take it away and just run away with the wide receiver one competition. It's lovely. And then you add Deontay Johnson to the fire. So it's gonna be awesome to see, man. This is a very interesting matchup this week with a really, really powerful offense who is healthy right now against a really, really powerful defense that is healthy right now. So it's going to be which side bends doesn't break and which side gives them the most. Is probably going to lose this matchup. So I'm super excited, dude.
Yeah, and I want to, before we move on, Deontay trade, right? Zay Flowers balling out. Surtain might take away Zay this game. Like, we might literally not hear Zay's name being called at all. But this means that Mr. Rashad Bateman needs to have a big game. I'm really circling his name. You talk about pressure because of this Deontay trade. There's no one that should be holding themselves under more pressure than him. If anyone's going to come and take your job right now, it's Deontay Johnson. Like, he's sitting right there behind you. I have no idea if it's going to be a lot of a big workload for him this week. I hope it is. That'd be awesome. But if this is the last time that Bateman gets as much of a workload as he has all year, it needs to be very efficient. There can't be any weird plays like last week where the sun's in your eyes or, miscommunications and stuff like that. You have to make a big name this game, especially against a big defense, a good defense, with Deontay Johnson in the shadows. I'm just holding Bateman accountable right now because I want to see him play a good game if Zay gets taken out.
Yeah, I do think that, like we just said, Deontay Johnson is going to play a vast majority of the snaps, a lot more than people think. However, I do believe that he will not see a ton of targets just because the chemistry and connection with Lamar wasn't able to be established at all really this week, maybe today a little bit. So I think he'll get like a few targets, but I don't think he's going to get like 5+. I think he might like realistically get like 4 targets this game max. That's just my feeling. I think he's going to play a lot, but more so just kind of out there running cardio sessions, like not really get a ton of passes. So we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully he goes out there and gets like 10 targets, goes for 100 yards, touchdown. That'd be incredible. So my expectations aren't super high for Deontay Johnson in the first game as a Raven, of course. I don't think anyone should be. But I am very interested to see it, and I do think he'll make an impact in some way.
Yeah, I'd love to see them get him involved with some screens early, sort of what they do with Flowers. Maybe, quick out, something like that, just to get him the ball quick, get him involved. So that'd be cool to see how that pans out. Moving over to Broncos side of things in terms of what they needed to do to win, who you guys think the X factor will be. Dawson, we can start with you here. You got any specific player on the Broncos you think needs to perform well for them, or anything specifically they need to do to be able to take down Baltimore this weekend?
I think it's 100% the underlying blueprint of how this Ravens team is getting defeated and beaten up on a weekly basis right now, and that's through the air. These quarterbacks are having their way. They're having field days on the Ravens offense. Jameis Winston was sitting on the cold iron bench this whole season, and he comes out last week fresh off the bench, and he's AFC Offensive Player of the Week. It's a weird thing right now. We've talked about this many, many times. We've been talking about this for 6 weeks now. This Ravens defense, man, it's really bad. It's really bad. Our pass defense right now is really bad, and it's unfortunate. And Bo Nix right now is playing phenomenal. He's airing the ball out. His weapons are heavily involved, and he is not scared of anything. They're letting him take control and gash these defenses. Granted, you can probably look at Denver, who they played. They have not played, many top tier defenses, I guess you could say, top tier teams. It's the NFL. It's any given week. We've seen that a few times this season already, unfortunately. I think the Broncos just need to attack this weakness in Baltimore, and I think that's the number one thing you can do. I think any team, no matter who you are, or what player you are, what coach you are, I think you have to attack this Baltimore defense, specifically through the air, until they can show that they have any signs of life towards counteracting it. Because we've seen this Baltimore defense now 6 weeks in a row. I would say 5 or 6 weeks in a row get gashed. I mean, these quarterbacks are throwing for 300+ yards a game. I mean, Jameis Winston, man, I love the guy, but it's like, really, with Cedric Tillman as his wide receiver one, or Jerry Jeudy, it's insane. So this Ravens defense needs to get ready, dude, because this is another really good passing team, a team that is airing it out, putting up tons of yards through the air. And I think the Broncos know that. Obviously, it doesn't take anyone smarter than the next to figure that out. So we're going to see. But I think the Broncos are a going to air this out early. And I just hope the Ravens defense is ready, man. There's a very clear, vivid blueprint to how to expose this Baltimore defense right now, man. And it is just throwing the football. It's throwing the football across the middle of the field, getting the linebackers in coverage. It's throwing outside the numbers against these DBs who have no ball skills right now. It's throwing it over top on the safeties. And it's bad. It's really bad. We know this, obviously, and I hate to be a broken CD player, but I think the Broncos are 100% see the underlying blueprint here, how to beat this team, and I think they're going to attack it heavy.
Yeah, I think the sacks for the Broncos D-line is amazing. Sean Payton, we haven't even mentioned Sean Payton this entire time. I don't know how we've done that. That's like maybe like on a bingo card. But Sean Payton, he's going to send everything he's got at Lamar Jackson. I'm sold on it. 5-3, right? If you get to 6-3 into the playoffs, you have the same record as the Texans right now, who we all kind of said were like easy number 2 with the Ravens downfall. Ravens go to 5-4. You have the tiebreaker on them. Broncos are looking sweet in a front seat position to head into the playoffs and have an advantage over the Ravens, holding them down. I mean, dude, like, especially with how the Steelers are playing, I'm getting into a long domino effect right now. But Broncos have to win this game. And I think you throw everything you can at Lamar to see what stops the offense, because who cares if you put everything on tape, because everyone's putting everything on tape to try and stop the offense. So if they create the pressure that they've been creating these last few weeks and mess our offensive line up, probably for the first real time that we've felt, like the offensive line has been a problem for a game, maybe. Like, this is a chance for the Broncos to do something like that and take over. And these 3 names that I mentioned, Benito, Allen, Cooper, like, they're not NFL superstars. These are like just guys given the job, given the chance, maybe some high picks in there, but still guys that are just given the chance and dominating. The Broncos have past greats with their D-line, and I'm not saying these guys are, but these guys are putting up numbers, and it's impressive. And the Ravens could easily be beat by a team like this if they can get to Lamar constantly.
I do like what you just said, Zach, but I do disagree with you saying the Broncos have to win this game. They have nothing to lose this season. They have a rookie quarterback with Sean Payton, who last year was very questionable. There was a bunch of turmoil there with how if he should move forward with their coach. That's a scary issue. Is this season the Broncos had no expectations to make the playoffs, no expectations to even be near winning the division, and no expectations to do anything further than what they fell short of last year. And that's the scary part. They have nothing to lose in this case. They are 9.5-point underdogs on the road against the reigning MVP and the team that's 5-3 right now. They have nothing to lose. They are going to send the house to Lamar, like you said. And if they win this game, oh my God, it's an absolute bonus. They lose, there's nothing to it. Oh, Broncos lost. They were 9.5-point underdogs. They're going back to Denver. They're 5-4, still much better than people thought. They have nothing to lose. Ravens do. The Ravens have a ton to lose in this game and moving forward in the season. And Denver has nothing. They could finish the season with 8 wins, and I would say it's okay. Rookie quarterback, we're okay. Like, that's positive. He didn't, completely crap the bed. That's the scary part. Is you're 100% right. Denver is going to play with nothing to lose, no fear. They win, man. It is all the bonus in the world. You have a tiebreaker over the Ravens. You're 6-3 in the AFC. You're right on top, and the crazy thing is you'd be right behind Kansas City in the division at that point. So the Denver, man, they have nothing to lose in this game, which makes it so scary. It's much like Cleveland last week. We always seem to get in these games where these teams are playing really hot right now and they have nothing to lose. And the Ravens are kind of underperforming and they have everything to lose. So it's another scary, scary matchup. And that's what scares me the most, man. This Denver team is going to play with absolutely no fear, play super aggressive, and just play Broncos football, man. That's all they got to do because they have absolutely nothing to lose.
So moving on to the Ravens side of things, Zach, we'll go back to you again. What do the Ravens need to do in order to sort of not lose a second game in a row where they're favored by a lot? And probably, in my opinion, they'd have to make some mistakes to drop another one here.
This is going to sound crazy. This is going to sound a little weird, but I think you have to get the offense a little more on track of this dominant football. 24 points, you know, you could say is great. It should have won you the game. It should have beat you, gave you a win against a pretty downhill Browns team. But in this case, our defense is Swiss cheese. So we're not able to have the luxury of scoring 24 points and winning games. You have to score more. We had some opportunities last week where we could have. And this week, there can't be any of those mistakes. And the worst part is, if Zay Flowers is taken out of the game, I mean, you're going to have to count on Deontay Johnson, Nelly, Likely, Mark to make those big plays. And is our offense capable of that? Like, if you have to make sure they don't crap the bed again like last week. Another side note, Derrick Henry, 11 carries last week. That can't happen again. Like that, there has to be more, 18 plus. It's really the offensive skill position guys that we're counting on to get these bigger plays, because if their defense is allowing, not that much per play, we have to really get those, the random Derrick Henry 50-yard run that we've been so accustomed to. We need that. We need the big play to Bateman that he dropped last week to connect and get another scoring drive. They just have to have a chance to put up more points this week.
It's a really good point. I like that a lot. And I think the Ravens in this matchup, obviously, they just need to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to them. This is a team that in the recent weeks, even with winning games, they've done it in other games too. So specifically last week, the last 2 weeks, I would say, is tons of dropped interceptions, setting up with great field position and not scoring touchdowns, not scoring points, pushing yourself back on drives due to penalties when you were set up for at least a field goal, missing field goals. I mean, awful flags. Like they just need to play mistake free and take advantage of these opportunities. There's no shade. The opportunities are going to be presented to you this week. You're playing a rookie quarterback on the road against a crazy atmosphere, a tough team. Like I would probably say there's going to be opportunities for the Ravens to really take control of this game. I would say whether Bo Nix throws a pick or he throws it into danger where the Ravens could pick it off, or a fumble, or setting up in good field position, or like anything really. There's going to be opportunities for the Ravens this week to really take advantage of this game and capitalize and kind of put their foot down. And in recent weeks, they just haven't done it. So what I'm looking for this week is if there's an interception thrown to a Ravens defensive back, please catch the football.
Please catch it.
If there's a fumble, please jump on top of it rather than trying to house it. Just get on the ball. If you are set up at the 40-yard line, please get into field goal range. If you are on the other side of the 50-yard line, please do not push yourself back on the other side due to a penalty. Just take advantage of the opportunities presented to you. Put your foot down and win this game. Play mistake-free football. Don't freaking get 10 penalties again. Just play normal, mistake-free, clean football and take advantage of the opportunities. They're going to be there. And if you do, I don't think the Ravens have an issue in this game against a rookie quarterback, against a team that they're 9.5-point favorites over, man. And I don't look at, the spreads always and go, oh yeah, they're winning for sure. We see this all the time. Upsets happen all the time. However, Vegas knows there's a reason the Ravens are 9.5-point favorites at home. There is a reason for that. They wouldn't just be 9.5-point favorites against anybody. That's a lot of points. So there's a reason for that. And the Ravens are fully expected to win this game, and I would say very comfortable. So hopefully they do it. And if they don't, man, it's gonna be pretty rough.
Definitely agree with everything you guys said there. One thing I would add for an X factor type of thing, I would say Marcus Williams sort of could be a guy who comes up big in this game. Maybe, we obviously saw him on the sideline last week. We still don't know exactly what the reason was. Maybe like a personal issue combined with a benching issue, combined with a mental resetting issue. I don't really know for sure. I feel like it might have been a multitude of things. But definitely, Eddie Jackson was not good last weekend. And I think Marcus Williams filling in for him is definitely an improvement, even with the way he was playing. But if Marcus Williams can maybe he needed this break and he comes back and he's the player he was last year. So
he seems to end up on this X factor player that needs to play good about every week. Marcus does.
Golly. I bet he gets an interception this week or a forced fumble. I bet he makes a play this week. Something, even if it's a big time pass deflect, big time PBU. I bet he does something this week where it's kind of like, I'm still here, man. I can still play safety. Like we're gonna win this game because I'm making plays. Like I would probably bet. It just seems to be how this stuff always lines up. So I would fully expect Marcus Williams to play this week, play a lot. I hope to God, and make a big impact play to hopefully win this game.
It's going to sound kind of dumb to say this, but like obviously, Kyle Hamilton is one of the, if not the best player ball skills wise on the defense, excluding that fiasco last week. And Marcus Williams is right there with him. Marcus Williams does not drop interceptions. So maybe having both of those guys on the back end could help a lot in that department. Moving into score predictions, I have the Ravens winning 26-20 in this one. Feel like it's sort of a game Ravens offense maybe plays similar to how they did last week. Score, 2-3 touchdowns, kick a couple field goals. I think they give up maybe a couple big plays to the Broncos still, but at the end of the day, you're playing a rookie quarterback. You got Marcus Williams back in the lineup, Marlon Humphrey back in the lineup, Nate Wiggins back in the lineup. So we'll probably see some improvement there. I don't think the Ravens defense will have too much of a struggle, but I also don't think they have a game where they give up 7 or 10 points either. So thinking like maybe an easy-ish Ravens win by about a touchdown here in this one for me.
Yeah, I think the Ravens win pretty comfortable in this game, to be honest with you. I think I have 28-17. Historically, since Lamar Jackson specifically, so since back to 2018, you just don't see the Ravens lose 2 games in a row. Obviously the season's a little different. They did to start the season, unfortunately. You just don't see the Ravens lose back-to-back games, specifically games that they're both heavily favored in. And they're at home against a rookie quarterback. There's too much perfect history to like realistically bet against them in this matchup and make it even closer than it should be. So I think, like I said, there's a reason they're 9.5-point favorites at home. I do think the line changes a little bit before game time. So we'll see, but I think 28-17 is probably a good prediction for this game. I think the Ravens kind of come out and readjust after last week, and I think they roll into Thursday Night Football against a really tough team that gave them hell earlier in the season on a high note. So getting to 6-3 would be pretty nice, and realistically, I would be pretty happy with that record.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens 28-20. I just really hope they catch a few interceptions this week. Gosh, what a treat that would be.
What I'm saying.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, last week I kind of just started expecting it. I was like, oh, that's 2 hands on the ball for Kyle Hamilton. Oh, he dropped it. Cool. It just didn't make any sense. So I'm hoping this week we force a few turnovers, make it interesting, make it fun, help the defense out a little. Like they need to give themselves some breaks. And 20 points we can hang our hat on and we'll be happy about. I think offense stays good too.
The DBs have been on the jugs machine after every practice this week. So we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. I swear, if there's one dropped interception this week, I might go ballistic.
They're gonna.
I might go ballistic.
It's gonna be talked about too.
Like I might actually go ballistic if they drop one interception.
And also, I'd like to see someone catch an interception that's not named Marlon Humphrey as well. Because we know.
Imagine like Brandon Stevens getting a pick right now.
Literally anyone. Stevens, Hamilton, Williams, Washington.
I mean, we'd still take a Marlon pick though, right?
Okay, obviously
yeah.
I'm just saying.
But like he's the only one that I have confidence in not dropping one.
Yeah, I'm saying a Marlon interception isn't going to change my confidence in the Ravens dropping picks because he hasn't been the issue anyway.
Like all of those drop picks the last 2 weeks, like Marlon would have caught them. Like all those ones last week, more than likely Marlon's catching all of them, if maybe he's dropping one. Like he
had a David Tyree helmet catch on the sideline against the Bucs. So
so we'll see, man. But if you drop one pick in this game, dude, myself included, with the whole Ravens flock, might lose it.
They're gonna hear it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's gonna be all from us today. Appreciate you guys for listening. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check us out on Spotify if you'd rather listen over there. It's in the description of all of our videos. And yeah, thanks for listening. We'll be back Sunday afternoon with a post-game reaction to hopefully a win this time. So we'll see you guys then. Peace.